you see some upsides from all the sort of difficulties that we've all been through?
Yeah, some of them. I'm a born optimist. I do hope that some of our clients will remember how well we looked after them during a very, very difficult period. And will, you talk about politicians with political capital. Well, hopefully that will sort of carry on a little bit. I know people have short memories, and sometimes the honeymoon is over, and people kind of, yes, I know there's this COVID thing, but when are you going to get this thing done? But I think that's quite good. Something I really do want to see is what we've all done now, which is these Zoom meetings, etc., etc. What a great way not to do AGMs and not to do client meetings in person. And I don't mean that badly, but when I ran my own company, I really didn't like sending, I'm going to be sexist here, particularly ladies, to evening meetings. So they'd be there at 8 o'clock and it finishes at 10 and they've got to get home at night. That's just not the way we should be doing things nowadays. So I do hope we can carry on with that clients will be used to the fact, particularly RTMs and RMCs will be used to the fact that it's all perfectly possible by Zoom. And in fact, is even more effective.
Do you think that potentially actually allows us as agents to get better engagement with our leaseholders because actually we're more accessible? Certainly, I mean, I think that's the experience that we as a business are already finding, that it's another way of helping us to actually reach out to our clients and be more convenient for them, because as you said, for a property manager, turning out, it's a pain, but actually often a portion of directors won't necessarily live on site, and they all have to turn up to somewhere, whereas actually, I mean, it's more accessible. I mean, it's something actually we were doing as a business a little bit before COVID, with certainly conference calls and some Teams meetings. And I think it's something that probably we will do more of.
No, I think we should. I'm keen that we don't lose it, that we don't go back to business as usual once COVID finally, or if it ever does finally disappear, that people don't automatically go, right, that's over, let's go back to face-to-face meetings. Because speaking as a property manager, it's terribly uneconomic to send somebody out. They lose their entire afternoon. I don't know about you, but we would give half a day off next day. So for that 1 hour.
Our property managers are so committed, they just work.
My old property managers are probably listening to this going, oh, that's swine. But I think you're right about also opening the scale, because you can have an AGM. And again, the number of AGMs I went to where we wouldn't even have quorum because people either couldn't or didn't want to take a few hours out of their own time to go to a cold wintry hall somewhere, whereas you can now Zoom in if you've got a flat but you live in Hong Kong but you want to, you can. I think that's tremendous as well. And for our own businesses, we're all sort of saying now, does this mean we need those big plush offices anymore? Can we downsize, cost saving, etc., etc.? That is possible. I have a sort of suspicion that we'll do that for a while, and then slowly but surely we will tend to start congregating back together again in bigger offices, because you don't have that interaction that you do when you've got an office. So I think that will be a short-term blip, and then we'll start stretching out again into back to full offices.
I think you're right. Certainly, I mean, we've always worked with office-based property managers because we feel they need support. It's a tough job, and actually being able to bounce off your colleagues is important. And through the whole of COVID, we've made sure that our teams are supported. They have regular team meetings online. We've used House Party, Zoom, you name it, they're on it. But we're gradually getting people into the office. And I mean, I was in our office last week, and there were 2 or 3 people in there, and the smiles on their faces when they actually see someone in the flesh.
Yeah, it's lovely.
It's amazing. I mean, we've got great people, and they just value their colleagues. But I think you're right. There certainly is that opportunity to do more. And I mean, equally, I noticed that you've been doing a lot more training online. Mm-hmm. Is that something that you're going to see sort of as another plus?
Yes. So having online access to things. I'll start with our regional briefings. We do those each May and June. We normally get around 60 or 70 people to each one. We hold 5 or 6 of them. So That's not bad at all. But by doing it online, we had 1,100 people come along to these ones. Probably it was free as well, which probably helped a little bit. But it just means you do get
it
that.
May have encouraged people.
It could have encouraged people. But to be honest, I go down to the one in Exeter, and it's mostly Blenheims there, and they empty their office for the day, so they actually lose pretty much a whole day's work for that, as do some of the others. So it's quite hard to do that because, as we know, the lifts are still breaking down, the roofs are still leaking in the background. Whereas dipping in and out, you could be much more flexible. We've got our conference that's going online, but it's going to be over 4 or 5 days now. And we were talking about it, and the team was setting up, you can either go to this one or that one as if it was live. And I was going, no, just do them at different times, because then people can go to both. They can either not go or go to both. So we anticipate that being hopefully a big success. And the training has really taken off. It's something we'd thought about in the past. Ours are very interactive face-to-face. So there's still a limit to how many people you can put an online course, because otherwise you're just playing a video loop. But that's really taken off. I think we do around about £10,000-15,000 worth of training a month, just to give you an idea. And it was 40, but that was in the first month, but that was pent up demand. So I think that's here to stay as well, because again, rather than you sending somebody all the way down to London to be there for 10 o'clock in the morning and they lose the whole day and then have to come back in the evenings or even stay over, they can dip in and out. You just have to make sure they're easy to do. You can't sit in front of a screen for 8 hours, which you can in a training facility. So you have to split them out. So a little bit more complicated. But I think that's going to be here to stay, to be quite honest. We will go back to some face-to-face, but I think doing it online is just so much easier for people.
Are there any other sort of major changes you see that will differentiate the business when we come out the other end?
In terms of, what are you thinking there?
I mean, the way that managing agents operate, is there anything else that you can kind of see really changing?
I haven't seen a tremendous. Normally, when something like this happens, you get a paradigm shift, and there's tech been waiting in the background that suddenly, oh my goodness, this is what we were built for. I haven't seen that. I'm a little bit disappointed in that. I was hoping for some other major shifts, but I think we've been tinkering around the edges a little bit. The only really visible one is the video conferencing, like I say, which is more effective. But I haven't seen that much else where I've kind of gone, gosh, that's the silver lining to this cloud.